The beacons are lit. We're going to talk today about three movements I really like that give a really big ROE, return on effort. In investing, you've heard the term ROI, return on investment. This is return on effort. So it's most people my age, most people I know who are even 20, 30 years younger than me who have been in sports their entire life, they got something that got dinged up, right? It could be a shoulder, it could be a back, it could be knees, it could be any number of different things, a combination thereof, right? And it's really, really easy to get discouraged because you want to train and you want to train different body parts, but how do you train chest? How do you train shoulders if you got a bum shoulder, right? How do you train legs if you got a bad back? How do you train back if you have a bad back? So what we're going to start to do is you got to shift your focus. You got to shift your focus from exercise to outcome. You get locked into understanding bench press, you get locked into understanding deadlift, you got the intersecting squats, but largely because that's the exercise pool that you have to draw from. So there's ways to work through and around all of these things without aggravating it, to strengthen it safely, and we're going to go over those. So again, we're not solving for exercise, we're solving for outcomes. So check out these movements: hex bar deadlift, we're going to be going over goblet squat, and we're going to be going over landmine presses. I started doing these a few years ago when I heard a couple of professional strongmen and powerlifters talking about the benefits of this versus a conventional bar deadlift. You're just in a much better position. You're not awkward. You're not pulling on anything unnaturally. This is a great movement. You can see that you're able to keep your shoulders over your hips. Great balance. Easy to focus on your knees. Good for opening up your hips. They could be progressed too with a heavier kettlebell, but also slower momentum. Landmine press is a very safe alternative, doing either a strict overhead press or doing a bench press. The weight is all in front of you, so it's a lot easier to control. You have your free hand available also as a spotter and as a stabilizer. Great movement. So there you have it. Very simple, right? Again, we're thinking about our outcome. We're not thinking about our exercise specifically. So with the trap bar deadlift, like we said, a lot of biomechanical advantages to doing that way, not putting yourself in an uncomfortable position where you're pulling unnaturally. You're still getting a ton of benefit, probably even more benefit than you are doing a conventional deadlift. Goblet squats, again, same type of idea what we're doing with the hex bar, right? We're getting our body in a very biomechanical set. So we're not putting ourselves in some kind of a weird position where we're unnaturally pulling or pushing on different aspects and areas. And the same thing with what we're doing with the landmine presses, keeping everything out in front of us so we can control it. We can see exactly what we're doing. We're not putting over amount of stress on the joint itself, but we're still getting access to the musculature, our chest, shoulders, that we're working, stabilizing muscles in through the back. All right, so don't let your ego get in the way. A lot of times that's where people get all messed up, is because they think I have to lift conventionally, I have to be able to do this, I have to be able to get to this specific number. Forget numbers. Numbers mean absolutely nothing, okay? You're trying to reach a specific outcome. Focus on your outcome, and that's it. That's the only thing you need to be focusing on. Focusing on your health, focus on your mobility, focus on your strength, focus on these different factors. You're not a little kid anymore. You don't have to get in some pissing contest with some broccoli-headed kid down at, Planet Fitness or whatever the fuck. Have a nice day, kid, and, be good. But the benefit that I have is I've been doing this a long time, since the 70s, right? So what you have to think about is I have a really, really big library of movement to draw from in order to be able to continue to train even when I'm injured, especially when I'm injured, because you want to make sure that you're getting movement and exercise in order to heal the joint properly. So I was talking about this with another coach. Back in the day, we used to learn the acronym RICE, rest, ice, compression, and elevation, in terms of injury. The guy who actually came up with that study, he actually recanted that a few years later, and he said that's horrible after the first very small amount of time, because you need to get blood in there, you need to get movement in there, you need to get things going in order to help flush out all the stuff that's happened, get healing nutrients into the site, right? So he came up with what he called METH, which is movement, exercise, traction, and heat, in order to do that. So if your singular methodology for rehab is based on this little bit of information and you don't have the rest of that information, you're slowing yourself down, you're slowing your development down. I mean, you're focusing on other things, you're focusing on your family, you're focusing on your job, you're focusing on other things that you don't necessarily have time to be studying it. This is what I do. I study this stuff. I talk to other coaches about this stuff. I work on this stuff. I use my body as a human guinea pig sometimes too, sometimes to my benefit, sometimes to my detriment, but it's always to your benefit. So anyway, that's what we do. So if you have questions, you need a hand, hey, I got this injury I need to work around, I got this to work around, shoot me a quick message. More than happy to help. That's what I do. So other than that, you know what the drill. Stay steady, stay strong.